Alright, so I'm going to be replacing the keyboard on this Acer Aspire A717-72G series, model number N17C3, or they have this other model A717-72G 700J. Alright, so first what we're going to do, the customer actually removed all the screws already, so I don't know what type of screws they use, but it's most likely PH1 or JIS1 screws. So it looks like we'd remove all of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, I don't know if I missed any. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yep. Alright, so remove all 19 of those screws. Then we're going to take these two covers off. So the problem with this computer was it was showing the charging light, but it wasn't turning on at all. And I tested the keyboard just to check. So anyways, we're going to pop these covers off just like this. You can use a pry tool if you want, but I just use my fingernail and pop that up just like that. Alright, so I don't know if there was a hard drive in here before, but this is a slot for a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive. To pull out the RAM, just pull these two tabs to the side, pops up like that. And we got here PC4 2400T. This is an 8 gig stick, so there's 16 gigs of RAM. You can put whatever size RAM you want as far as the gigs go, but the PC4 2400T, you usually want to match that. Sometimes you can use different speed, but to be safe and make sure it works, you'll want to use the same one. Alright, the hard drive here has 4 screws for this adapter, and then there's the connector under here. If I remember correctly, I didn't have to actually take this out to remove this, so I'm going to leave that. But if you have a hard drive there, you're going to want to remove these 4 screws and disconnect this connector from your hard drive. Alright, so anyways, let's pop this open. If I have to remove that, I will. Okay, so right here we have a little gap between the plastic piece and the metal palm rest assembly. So I get my fingernails in between there. You can use pry tools if you want, and then you just pull it up like this, okay? So let's go around the whole computer. Oh yeah, see? So here you can see this part comes up separately, but basically you just go all the way around, prying it up. There are some clips that hold it in place. Again, you can use pry tools if you like to, if it's too hard to get open, and then we can just pop this off just like that. All right, I'm gonna set that aside. So here we can see inside the computer. And the way I tested this was I undid the screws for the battery, so let's undo that first. We are going to have to undo or remove all these pieces. This one, I guess we'll remove as well. But anyways, let's remove the screws for the battery. You do want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shapes, and lengths, and if you mix them up, you can actually damage your computer when putting them back. Alright, so there's one screw here, one over here. Looks like the battery's only held in with those 2 screws. Once you remove those 2 screws, let's see, is there anything else? Nope. Okay, you can lift it up like this. Be careful because the connector is right here. The way I tested the keyboard was I rotated the battery over like this. I pulled this keyboard connector out, so to remove this keyboard connector, let me zoom in. I just pulled this back. Okay, so there's these 2 white plastic tabs. You pull that down, and then you can pull this connector out. I accidentally also moved this out, so I'm gonna pull these 2 tabs out as well, and then line that back up, and then push these back in. But anyways, I'm not gonna turn it back on because I already tested it, but I took this keyboard, and then I just connected it the same way. So as you can see, this is upside down, the connector. So you want the connector facing this way, okay? So you actually want the connector to where these things are facing here and the plastic part is facing down. So I just connected this onto this, and then I pressed the power button on the keyboard while the screen was slightly open. If you do that, you want to be very careful because it is kind of dangerous. You can drop something and then damage the stuff in here, so you want to be careful with that. What else? I think that's all I'm going to show for that. Okay, so let's remove the battery. So to remove the battery, you have the wings of this connector here. I just wiggle them as I pull it, just like that, and we can pull it out. Okay, just like this. The battery is bulging a little, so it might eventually need to be replaced, and the battery model number here is A717-72G. Alright, so we're going to set that aside as well. Somewhere safer. There we go. Alright, so, oh, that's one other thing. This keyboard is backlit. The replacement I got actually ended up not backlit, so make sure if you want your keyboard to remain backlit that you order the right keyboard. Okay. Alright, so let's zoom out. We are going to have to remove the whole motherboard and everything. So let's remove this connector first. You just pull these two tabs down and then you can pull this out. Okay, make sure you keep that safe because we are going to have to put that back. Then we got all these other connectors here. So we got this connector here for the trackpad and then this other connector also for the trackpad. I don't know why the trackpad needs two connectors, but you just flip up those tabs and then you can pull these connectors out. Okay. I don't know if this lights up or something or what, but alright. Then we got this connector here. I'm not sure what this little board does down here, but we're just going to disconnect that. Be careful with these cables because they are fragile. If you can kind of get underneath just the blue tab and you can grab that and pull it out. You don't want to like yank on these cables and risk damaging them. So it looks like there is an M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD in here. So you just remove the one screw, it'll pop up slightly like the RAM and you can pull it out. Alright, so there's the Cmos battery here. I'm pretty sure it's like double stick taped down, so I'm just going to disconnect it and then worry about the BIOS later. Alright, same thing like the other battery, just wiggle the connector and keep wiggling it, eventually it will pop out. You don't want to pull really hard, you can risk damaging these connectors. Alright, here's the keyboard backlight connector here. It's this brownish, orange, goldish, whatever colored one. Pop up that tab as well, pull it out. Alright, we got the speaker connector right here. We're going to take that out again with the wings. You just wiggle it as you slightly pull. Just keep wiggling and eventually it pops out. Alright, just like that. Then you got the DC jack or the charge port connector here. It looks like without the cover on you can actually lift the DC jack or the charge port out. I'm going to leave that. Oh, actually I guess we'll have to take it out, so we'll see. Alright, so I'm going to remove this first because it's on top. This goes to the USB ports and the headphone jacks. Again, you want to keep the screws in order because they are different size, shapes, and lengths, so keep that in mind. This might be a little tricky because there are a lot of screws. Okay, so take that one screw out and then you can see we can lift this piece up. And then you want to flip that tab up as well, just like that. Be very careful because if there's adhesive, you don't want to yank it too quickly and then risk damaging anything. So we got that piece out. Okay. And one thing you'd want to do, in this case the power button wasn't working, but usually after removing the battery, you want to press and hold the power button to drain any power from the computer. In this case, what you can do if your power button's broken too, they have this little switch here, which you can press and hold on the bottom of the cover. They actually have a little hole here to do that. That's a BIOS CMOS reset button. So this might help with draining the power, though usually it's just for the memory, not for the rest of the board. So I don't know if that would really reset all the rest of everything else. So I'm just going to press and hold it anyway. So the BIOS now, since that battery's removed, for sure is completely wiped. Alright, so now we're going to remove the DC jack or the charge port connector. So let's see, since it's all like taped down here, you're going to want to undo these adhesive strips. We are going to have to peel off all this black adhesive plastic anyways. So yeah, just peel up all of that. Okay, so the DC jack, just like the other one, if you can't get the wings like this, you can use the wire, but usually you want to do at the wings or whatever it's extended, and there you go. Just keep wiggling it, it eventually pops up. Same thing, get this adhesive out. Okay, and peel this adhesive up, and then let's pull this charge port out. Just wiggle it up just like that, and there we go. Alright, set that aside as well. We got a wireless antenna going across here. So it looks like we are going to have to actually remove the whole screen assembly too. Okay, that's going to be kind of a pain. Let's peel up this tape here. Okay. And then we got the wireless antenna. So let me zoom in so you can kind of see better. Alright, so the wireless antennas, you always just pull up from the tail, okay? I just use my fingernails. You can use like tweezers or whatever, and then you just pull it straight up as close to the tail as you can. Alright, just like that. Alright, same thing at the tail, and then kind of pull it up. You can kind of wiggle it a little bit. Alright, and then we got this connector here. Oops, sorry, let me zoom back out. So we got the hard drive connector here, so we're going to just slowly peel this up if we can. So you kind of want to pull it that way to keep it flat as you pull it up, just like this. Okay, and then you want to be careful because the connector is under here. You need to flip that latch up as well, and then you can kind of wiggle and pull that out. All right, set that aside as well. There's a lot of connectors here, so let's peel up this adhesive so we can get the wireless antenna out. Okay, most likely all this adhesive isn't going to stick back down, but whatever, it's not really needed. Alright, get these wireless antennas out. Let's peel this piece up as well. Just like that. Alright, it is like threaded in a plastic thing here, so make sure when you lift it out that you don't accidentally damage it. It is kind of dusty, so I am going to have to clean this up. But I'll clean it later when I take it outside. Okay, you got the fan connectors here. Let's see, you got some screws holding the fans. I don't know, it looks like there's supposed to be a screw here, but I don't remember taking a screw out from there. So if there are extra screws, make sure to check. Sometimes customers work on these and I don't know what they did. It looks like there might have been a screw there as well. So maybe they brought it to somebody to try and take a look and they couldn't fix it, and then they brought it to me and then I was able to figure it out. So I don't know, that's usually what ends up happening. Okay, so we'll remove that screw, remove this screw. Makes it a little more confusing to me because then there's random missing screws that I can't figure out where I need to put the screws. Okay, so after you remove those screws, this does stay attached to the rest of the heatsink. CPU and GPU are held into the board, so you can't remove it. Wireless card comes out just like the M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD. Just take out the screw, lift it up slightly, and pull it back. I don't think I need to remove the fan connectors because they are connected to the board, so I'm just going to remove the screw here. Alright, remove that motherboard screw. Again, make sure to check yours because I don't know if the customer removed screws from here that I don't know. Maybe this was on the back of the plastic cover, but I don't know why the fan they have markings there for the type of screws that were in there. Right, there's one more screw up here. Let's remove that as well. That's a lot of screws. I might have a tough time remembering where I took them out from. These screws seem like they're part of the motherboard, so it's okay. Okay, so let's see, that looks like it's coming out. Alright, so let's remove the LCD or LVDS connector here. So there's this black tab you can use to pull it. Usually I find these tabs don't work too well, so what I do is I get underneath the connector on the side here and I use my fingernail, or you can use a plastic pry tool, and then while I'm pulling it up I kind of try and get the corner and just pry it up. Let's see if it will come out. There we go, just like that. Right, you don't want to use too much force or you can break those connectors. So let's see, I think that's all the screws that I see here. So I don't know if the customer removed them or that's just how it is. But now you can see we're lifting the board up. Let me zoom out a little bit. That's kind of actually zoomed out a lot, but alright, so here you can see we can lift up the board now. Just be careful lifting it up that you don't get it caught on any cables and then rip anything out. So you want to go slowly. I feel there's something attached underneath. Oh, I see. So the wireless antenna here is getting caught. So you can use a wooden toothpick or something, or a plastic pick, but just guide the little white antenna wire underneath. Alright, I'm going to use this. Makes it a little bit easier. There we go. Alright, and there we go. We got the motherboard out. As you can see, there's not really anything on the bottom. There's this is just a rubber piece. It's not even a thermal pad. But other than that, there's not much else on the motherboard. So if you wanted to take the motherboard out, that's how you would do it. Alright, if you take this heatsink off, you want to be very careful. You have to reapply thermal paste or the thing is going to run really hot. So you want to be very careful with that. Alright, I'm going to set that down. You want to be very careful with the motherboard. I might have to close the door so my cat doesn't come in and like mess with it, but there we go. So I'm going to clean the dust off of this, and then I'm going to close the door too so my cat won't come in, and I will be back in a bit. Alright, I'm back. If I remember correctly, the customer said that the fan was making some noise, and as I can see, this fan is actually kind of bad. So I'm actually going to work on this fan and see if I can fix that as well. So I'm going to set this aside. Okay. Put the fan there. Alright, so let's see if I can repair this failing fan. So as you can see, this one spins really well. This one kind of gets stuck. So what we're going to do, let's see if I flip this. Is it okay? So these are two separate fans. So I'm just going to work on the one that's failing, which is this one. I'm going to disconnect the connector again just by wiggling this. It eventually pops out. Okay. So I don't know if you can see, there's tiny screws here. Most likely we're going to have to use a pH double or 000, or pH 0, possibly a pH 00, sorry. Alright, let's see if this screwdriver will work. And okay, so a pH or JS 0 will work. Let me zoom in here. So we're going to remove this tiny screw here. And we'll remove the tiny screw on this corner. Again, keep the screws in order because they are different size, shapes, and lengths. You don't want to get them mixed up. There's another one on this. So there's 4 screws holding this fan in place, it looks like. There's likely other stuff holding it down, so we'll see. But I'm just going to remove these 4 screws, and then we'll see what's going on after that. So whatever applies to this fan will most likely apply to this one as well if you wanted to do that. But since only this one is bad, then I'm only going to be working on this. Alright, so we removed those 4 screws. Let's flip it over and see if we can pull this out. It's still somewhat stuck. It might just be because the adhesive here. So I'm going to peel this adhesive up. I have this black plastic tool that's usually good for this kind of stuff. We'll see if I can remove it using this. Okay. Oh, it's kind of stuck pretty strong here. Let's try and push the adhesive under. Yeah, this adhesive is really strong. Let's use the pokey side and see if that helps. Kind of, somewhat. I wish I can get this corner. It would probably make it a lot easier, but this corner seems to be stuck a lot stronger. Okay, you can also probably use like a razor blade to do this, but you want to be careful. Okay, it is peeling up. I probably should have left the 4 screws in and then did this, because that might have helped keep the fan from moving around. But it looks like it's working. I just have to do a little at a time. Okay. And now hopefully that I got enough of it up, I can peel it. Yep. Alright, so now we can peel this. It's not going to go down nice and flat afterwards though. I don't know if using this kind of tool will help with keeping it more flat, but I don't think so. So I'm just going to peel this up. Okay. You can always put some other kind of tape later. As you can see, it tears here. So you can actually use the perforated lines to tear this. And then let's peel this off. We're going to put different tape after. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to just use the perforated lines and tear it. It'll be easier, just like this. Okay. And then we can peel this up. I'll peel the rest of this off. If you want, you can cut it here so that you can keep the rest on the other fan. Okay, I'm going to use a razor blade and cut that. So just cut between the 2 fans and we'll peel that off. I'll put some electrical tape on it afterwards. Alright, so here we can lift it up and you can actually see there's a whole bunch of, oh man, there's like cat hair or something in here. So it might actually be a good idea for me to take both fans apart, because that's quite a bit of like cat hair, and that's after I blew a lot of air through to try and clean it up. So yeah, Depending on if you have pets and stuff, it's probably a good idea for you to do this as well. I guess I'll just peel all of this off. So let me take out the other fan as well. I'll do one at a time so it's less confusing. So we got this fan out. I'm gonna just brush it off, clean it with a toothbrush. A little bit just to clean it up. All right, so usually these, let's see if you can. Usually you can pull these off, but it doesn't look like it wants to come out. So these propellers might not be repairable. I might have to tell them I need to order a new fan. I'm gonna try a way to remove the propeller blades. We'll see. I need to create a tool to do this better, but let's see. Okay, I'm gonna peel this up as well. See underneath this sticker, there's no model number for this fan, or oh, okay, the model number is like really hard to read here. It's like on this. DFS5411105FC0T. That looks like the model number. FJN1 DC 5 volt 0.5 amp. Sorry that I'm reading that piece there. Alright, so it is a plastic thing here, so you can technically drill a hole through that plastic, but I'm going to see if I can do it by removing the fan from the housing. So I actually need to create a tool that wraps around and then can like pull all of it up at once. But yeah, all right, let's see underneath here. It's probably gross too, so I'm gonna peel off this plastic stuff and see if I can clean that up. So let's take the 4 screws off of this one, and we're just gonna clean the dust out of it. This side most likely isn't as bad. Usually one fan is for the CPU and it's running all the time, and then the GPU fan usually is not going to be as bad because it doesn't run as often. So we'll see when we open it, and that's also likely why only one fan is having the problem with the noise. Okay. Okay, so here we go. It is pretty dusty as well, so I remove this, but not as bad. Here you can see there's this cat fur here or something, or maybe dog fur. Alright, so I'm gonna just brush the fan off. Oh, sorry, I'm going out of camera, but basically just brush that out. Okay, see, this one doesn't come out either. Alright, I'm gonna also brush the vents. Alright, can put this fan back on, since we're not going to do anything else with it. Alright. Let's reattach the screws. Okay. This might be a little tricky because the fan is like not flat, so you have to kind of hold it from underneath. There we go. Alright, sorry, I'm going off camera again. It's hard to kind of pay attention to what I'm doing and then record at the same time, so I'm undoing the screws and then redoing them so to make sure they're all lined up. Alright, there we go. So now let's see if we can fix the fan. So usually what I do to remove the fan, let me set this aside somewhere. So usually what I do to fix the fan, I would use like these kinds of things and then just put a bunch so that they line up and then they all push at the same time through the bottom. I need something to like hold these better. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do it. Let's see if I can. I don't know if I'll be able to do it on camera. Let's see. So yeah, I would need like something to hold this up. So I'm not sure how I'll do this. I might have Actually, let's see if I can do it with my magnet trays. Okay. Is that one okay? Is this one more empty? Okay. I will be back. Give me a second. I'm gonna set... actually... Okay, I'll do this. Oops. Dropped one of those little rubber thingies. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use this tray here. Alright, so let's see. Let's zoom in. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use that. Hopefully it will... it doesn't hold it that strong, but it does hold it somewhat. So I'm going to use that, try and hold these in place. And I'm going to try and find these that will just line up kind of perfectly with this. And if I can get them all lined up, then I should be able to push down on it and pop the propeller blades through, assuming it won't just break the motor housing. So let's move that over. Okay, that looks like it will kind of work. I hope that's good. Okay, so we're just going to get a bunch of these and then try and line them all up to push through the bottom. And hopefully that will actually work. Okay, so we're going to put one there. One there, get one and put one here. Okay. So I need a special tool to do this. So those look all lined up. So I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but I'm getting them all lined up here. And then I can use that to push through from the bottom. But usually I'll want multiple, not just like one. So I'm gonna have to try and get like another one to kind of help spread it a little bit better. Okay, so we got that. Do we have one here? Okay, so hopefully these are spaced well enough, and hopefully this also, the piece is not going to be too strong that I can actually push it through. So let's go ahead and line these up. All right, and then you just push down on this and hopefully it will pop through, but it doesn't look like it wants to. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that kind of works. Maybe I can actually do this with not like a magnet, but basically a tray like this, okay? And then I can just put those in the slots that I need them. So it looks like that worked. Sometimes it puts too much force and it actually breaks the circuit board under here, or the whatever you would call that, the PCB. Okay, so I'm gonna put these screws back. Sorry, it's gonna take me a little bit. Actually, let me pause the video while I put these back. Alright, so now that I got that out, what we're gonna do, just like every other fan repair, we'll just take some synthetic motor oil. If you don't have this, you can actually get the oil just from your car's dipstick. I did that in one of my videos actually. And then you just get a needle, alright? So tip it over, get like a drop of the oil on the needle, and then drip it into the, I guess the, what would you call this? I don't know, the bearing? It's not really a bearing, I think. I think it's just a shaft or something, just the slot there. So hopefully that will be good enough. Okay. Alright. Get another drop. Just put the oil in there. Okay, so that's usually how I will re-grease the bearings or the shaft or whatever, since it's not really a bearing. Okay, and then what you want to do, you can also clean this off. Just get like a paper towel or napkin. If there's old grease on it, you kind of want to clean it off. Okay, Then you just grab that, put it back in. Right now, without pushing it back down into the, clip it back in place so that you can actually take it back out. You can see how nicely it spins, okay, compared to before. If you want, you can do that, and then you can kind of like clean off the grease and then add some new grease just to make the grease a little bit cleaner. But usually what happens, it's like dust and stuff gets in there, or sometimes moisture, and it messes up the bearings, because or not the bearings, but it messes up the grease to where it's more gunky and goopy, and that gunkiness, goopiness makes it kind of get caught, and then it doesn't spin as freely, and that's usually what causes it to go bad. So we're going to add another drop of grease here. Alright, swirl it around. Okay, and then we'll put this back in there. And here you can see it's already a lot better. Now we're going to just push it in. I don't know if you heard it, it clicked. So that's how you know it's pushed back in properly. Okay, so now I can test it. Okay, if you try and pull it back up, it's stuck again. So that's how you know it's good. Alright, and here you can see the fan spins a lot better than before, right? It might still need to be replaced because it's kind of wobbling a little bit, and I can feel like it's not as smooth as it should be, but it does spin a lot better than before. So it might still make a little bit of noise, but as far as like spinning around, it's actually a lot better. So I'm gonna put this back here, okay. Let me try and get it centered in. This is kind of like anti-static stuff, so I don't damage computers working on the surface. Okay, let's see, back in. Alright, so let's put the fan back. So the fan goes back like this. Make sure you get the connector back underneath, of course. Alright. Flip it back over. I'm going to hold this in place while I get the screws. Okay, get the screw in. And usually you want to get all 4 screws in before you start tightening it, just to make sure everything is lined up right. And you want to be careful not to put too much pressure, because you don't want to bend those pipes there. If you bend that, then the cooling's not going to work anymore. So be very careful. Okay, last screw. Then we can tighten it all up, and then we can put some tape back over it to help with the cooling. Alright. This one's a little bit weird. There we go. Alright, now we can tighten down all these screws. Be careful with the screws. If the screwdriver's jumping out of it, you don't want to strip the top of the screws off, and then you won't be able to remove or put them back. Alright. Okay, so we got that. Let's plug back in the fan so we don't forget later on. Okay, just get it lined up. And then it's nice to pinch the 2 pieces together so that way you're not putting all the force on one side. Alright, there we go. I'm going to put away that screwdriver because we probably won't need it anymore. Switch back to the PH1 or JS1. Alright, so now this fan is good. You can see it spins way better. Alright. The way you know it's good is when it stops, you can see it like wiggles back and forth like that. That's how you know the fan is good. See? Look at that. Alright, so we fixed the fan. That should be good to go. Let's add the, what do you call it? Electrical tape or something behind there. So let me get some electrical tape and I will be back. Alright, so we're going to put some electrical tape here. Alright, so let's see here. About that size. Alright. Get the tape, and then we'll just put that back to cover the air gap, just like before. Alright, and just tape it back down. Alright, this just is there to form a better seal. Oh, it's not lined up right. There we go. Just like this. Okay. Alright, so sealed that back up. If you want, you can test the fan again, make sure it spins well. Looks good. Alright, so now we're going to get the other part back so that we can replace the keyboard. We'll put this in a safe place. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to have to replace the keyboard. So it looks like we're going to have to peel or remove the whole screen assembly. So let's actually peel up the adhesive here, get the white antenna out. Okay. Thread this. There's some plastic tabs there also holding it, so you want to be careful with that. Okay. Alright, so now to remove these, what I like to do, let's zoom out some more. Okay, so what I like to do is I'll open the screen. You want to be careful because there's less stuff holding the hinges in place. You don't want to move it too quick or you can damage the hinge mounts. Alright, so open it all the way, or 90 degrees. And then turn it over, hang the screen off the edge of your table. Okay, and then we can remove the screws that are holding the hinges in place. Okay. Again, keep in mind where you're taking the screws from. You want them in the same order that you're taking them out, or the same places that you're taking them out. You don't want to get them mixed up. Alright, just like that. Once you remove those two screws from each hinge, we should be able to lift this out. Oh, there's one more screw here. Sorry, didn't notice that. So make sure you get this screw as well here. It was hiding. Okay. Alright, so that looks like all of them. So let's lift this up. If it doesn't come out, you might have to open the screen further. Okay, and then lift it out. So you do have to open it more than 90 degrees. And there we go. We got the screen out. So we'll set that aside as well. Okay. Alright, so now let's go ahead and try and remove the keyboard assembly. So this is the tricky part. And also you want to make sure that the replacement keyboard is going to be the same. The one thing is, I don't know why, but they put this, they put that adhesive there. So now I'm kind of limited to where I can peel this. I might have to peel this up actually. So, and then I can maybe take this protective thing off and put it over there. Okay. So what we're going to do now, let's peel off this whole black plastic piece. You want to be careful when you're peeling this up. I mean, it's not really necessary so that you don't tear it as long as you put it back afterwards. Okay, but if you peel it slowly and carefully, you should be able to remove it without damaging it too much. Alright, so let's peel this all off. Okay, be careful with like the sharp corner pieces that they have on there because usually that's where it will tear. So you want to be careful, extra careful around those, like these cutouts. Okay. There's a good chance it's going to tear anyways, but if you're slow and patient, you can probably get it without damaging it too much. Alright. So let's slowly peel this up. Okay, let's go around and go on this side since it's all... There's too many like sharp cut corners, and that's usually where it tears. So just be careful. Okay. Most people are probably going to watch this video and then not do the keyboard repair because it's going to be such a pain. There's all these melted plastic pieces that we're going to have to remove. I'm probably going to have to get my drill to make it easier. but we'll see. All right, so let's peel this up. So much adhesive. Okay, you want to be careful, of course, for all these other pieces, all these other cables down here. This keyboard's already broken, so you don't really have to worry about all these cables, but I don't like to risk them, so I'm going to be careful with it anyways. And try and pull it through. Okay. Let's see here. Is this going to come up? Oh, this one's tearing, as you can see. Okay. And if you can find like the entire keyboard assembly, you can replace that as well instead of doing this, because this does make it a lot more difficult. Alright, so we got enough of this up. Let's try and thread the keyboard through. Okay, just like that. Alright, let's thread the backlight cable through as well, even though we're not going to have that on the replacement one. Go. Okay, so here's the whole plastic thing. Set that aside. Alright, so as you can see, there's all these black plastic pieces under here, and all of these are holding down this metal plate, which are keeping the keyboard in place. We're gonna peel up this foil. Actually, I don't think we can peel up that foil either. It's underneath those melted plastic pieces as well. So, okay, the trackpad is also on top, so we are going to have to undo the 3 screws holding this part down as well. And I think the rest is okay. Okay, so let's take out these 3 screws down here. It's going to be a very long repair. Alright, let's see if the trackpad will even come out. Okay, so the trackpad comes out easily after removing those 3 screws. It just lifts out like that. Sorry, you couldn't see, but this piece tucks under here. And then it goes down like that, okay, with the 3 screws. So I'm going to take that out. Set that aside. And now I'm going to get my drill so I can get these plastic bits out. Alright, I will be back in a bit. Alright, so I'm back. I got a drill. And what we're going to do, we want to find a drill bit that is just the right size, that it will drill these plastic things out, but leave the resting intact. So let's try this size bit. This is a 7 by 64. I don't know what the metric is. I think that's in inches. But yeah. Alright, so we're basically going to aim for the center of these little drill holes. I don't know if I'm going to be able to or not, because it might drift around, but we'll see. So yeah, basically we're just going to drill these out. So as you can see, after I drill it, then it leaves, like, you can see the edges of this metal plate. I don't know if it's aluminum or steel or whatever, but that's what our goal is. We're going to basically drill these out. So as you can see, I drilled it, and then the hole is exposed for the metal piece. Alright, and that's our goal here. We're just going to drill out all of these. So I mean, you get the idea. You don't really need to watch this whole part. If you're going to be doing it, you're just know that you're going to have to drill out all of these. And then after what I do, I might want a bigger drill bit actually, just so, yeah. Let me get a slightly bigger one because I don't want it to drill too far. Let's see here, will this one work? 764? No, these are all too small. Okay, let's try this 1/8. Nope. So, I mean, I can use that one, but the problem is if I drill too much, it will drill through the thing, and I just want it to drill to the metal, so this will probably be good. And this is a 5/32. All right, let's see if it will stay in the center. That's another issue. Okay, I guess it worked, kind of. The other option, if you don't have a drill, you can try using like a razor blade and try and cut all of those plastic pieces off, but I don't know, that's going to be way more difficult, I feel. It's drifting too much. There we go. So you get the point. We're just going to be drilling out every single one of these plastic divots that are holding this metal plate in place. Hopefully it's all in view. I'm going to put this set of drill bits away so it's not in my way. Okay. And we're going to continue drilling all of these. The nice thing when you have the right size drill bit, you know like exactly when it drills far enough because it just lifts the plastic tab out. Another thing you'll need after this, you'll need like a 3D printing pen that can melt plastic enough to put it back, or you can use some like glue, but you'll need like a good glue because it needs to dry quickly and it needs to be strong. So I found that a 3D printing pen works best because it essentially just puts back these melted plastic pieces. Oops, I need an easier way to like collect all of these broken plastic pieces so it's not going to take as long. If I wasn't recording this, I would just do this outside and then I would just blow all the debris away. But since I'm trying to show what's the process, then it's kind of... I'm messing up the aluminum piece here. Oh, I don't think I can get this one. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's also an awkward position to have the drill so high up. And you want to be careful with all these cables that are sticking out. Alright, so we're going to keep continuing. And change my grip on this thing because it's in an awkward position for me. Let me get my small trash can here. Have it closer so I don't have to keep bending so far. Some of them come out nice and easy, other ones kind of a pain. don't know about that super tiny one. Keyboard backlight's getting destroyed, but usually if you replace the backlight, it comes with it. You can't get a non-backlight keyboard and use the backlight because the keys won't let the light through. So, and it also doesn't have the button to turn it on and off. Oh, this is such a tedious job. Okay, so let's see, am I missing any? Do I have to remove that one as well? It looks like, yep. So there's one in the corner here that's not really through the metal, it's just on the side of the metal. I kind of have to take that one out too. Okay. Man, I'm only like a third, a little bit less than a third. Ones that are just right over the keyboard are extra annoying. I got this drill as a Christmas present from one of my favorite customers. I was like working on stuff at their place and then I saw their drill and I was like, oh, I really like it because it has this feature where when you lock it in, it like, yeah, it stops the whole drill. So I really like that feature and then they ended up getting me. It's really nice. And it makes my job quite a bit easier. Before I was using one with a cord. It was kind of annoying having to move the cord around all over the place. Okay. Alright. And that customers, they became like family, so. Not because of the drill, before the drill. But yeah. Alright. Almost halfway done. You can see how annoying this kind of repair is. Okay, at least under there, there's none. This one's gonna be tough. It's in the middle of the metal. Actually, I'll take that one out after I take the metal plate off. Okay, let's see here. Am I missing any? It's coming up. Do have to peel off this foil here. I did cut into a little bit of it, but we do have to peel this up. Okay. There we go. Alright, move that out of the way. Let's see, is it lifting up? There's still something holding it on in the center I must be missing. I'm not seeing where though. Oh, there's this small one here. Okay. Oh, there we go. Mostly coming up. Alright. Okay, let's continue drilling out the rest. Whoops. Did I destroy the... Okay, good, I didn't. So that almost damaged the thing, so you want to be very careful with these. Sometimes drilling faster actually helps, but maybe I need a drill press or something so it doesn't move around. I don't know, that would be too much work having to readjust every time. Okay. Hopefully I can bend that metal back down. That foil got me in it. Make sure to keep the cables out of the way. Whew, I'm getting tired from this. That one's underneath, we'll get that after. Almost there. These sides have like way more than the rest of the computer. Probably missed a few. I hate how a lot of the computer manufacturers now are building computers like this, where it's designed to be thrown away, not designed to be repaired. get that one. Probably have to use the razor blade for that. Okay, let's see. Did I miss? Let's see. Let's try and pull this up. Oh, there's adhesive on this as well. Oh, man. Okay, so we're gonna try and get these things through. Let's peel the aluminum back here. Okay. Let's peel more aluminum back here. Alright. Make sure these cables get out of the way. I'm missing some. There's one still here. That worked. It pulled the whole thing up. Alright, so here we go. Unroute all these cables. Alright, let's get all this broken plastic stuff off. Need to bend this piece back. Let's get all this broken plastic stuff out. I don't know how that one piece came out that I didn't drill all the way. I guess it just was thin enough already. Okay. Look at that. Alright, so we got this piece got messed up, so I'm going to try and flatten that. I'm going to use my screwdriver with that one of these big flat pieces here. I'm just going to use that to smash it down. Too much stuff in the way. That worked. Do I need to do that with any other? They look okay. Alright. That should be good. Set that metal plate aside. Be careful with it. There's adhesive stuff on it, so I don't want to get it on other things. Alright, so let's see here. This keyboard is popping up. There are a couple here that I do need to remove. Okay, apparently these are extra difficult because it's kind of flexible. There we go. Alright, let's see if the keyboard will come out now. For the most part, what's holding it down? There we go. Alright. There we go. So we got the old keyboard out. So you can see it's really dirty inside, so we're going to set that aside with the trash. I'm going to clean this stuff off because it's kind of dirty in there. And the other side's also pretty dirty, so I'm going to try and clean that up, and I will be back. Alright, I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so I'm back. Cleaned it up the best I could. So here you can see, I guess the cats were kind of getting to it, but I cleaned it up. There's some stuff in the edges I couldn't really clean out well, but I did the best I could, short of just submerging the whole thing in water. So I don't want to do that because water can get trapped elsewhere, and I don't want to risk doing anything, even though there's only the speakers and stuff here, which I could take out, but it's as clean as it's going to be. So, alright, so we're going to get the keyboard here. So If you want, you can kind of look at the other one and kind of, you can see they have all these holes in it, but they had like some that are covered by the plastic. So this one, it only needs a few of those. And again, I'm gonna have to see if I can peel this back, because I don't know if that's what caused it or if the cat's kind of drooled in it or something. And I do see like, it looks like liquid damage in there. So that's probably from the cats. Okay. So I'm gonna just peel this piece so I can take that to use. Alright, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try and peel the adhesive back. I don't know why they stuck it on there. If you do this, you want to be careful, because if you flex or if you bend this cable too much, you can actually damage it. So I'm going to try and slowly peel it, because if we damage this, then all this repair was for nothing. What if we go ahead and try and use it and it's broken? Okay, so I'm going to try and peel this up. Man, this is not good. Okay. Okay, so there we go. It came out. And I'm going to stick this on there, and hopefully that will keep it from sticking back down. Okay. I don't think it will completely, but we'll see. Hopefully when we put this back in, it shouldn't be an issue. Alright, so let's get that. Let's put the keyboard in. Okay. So you want to check the other side, make sure everything looks okay. It looks good. And then you want to try and get it to go beyond all those plastic things. Some of them might not go by itself. You might have to help push it through. Okay, if it didn't drill enough of the plastic out. This seems like it's not going. There we go. Okay, when we replace the new plastic, hopefully it will help with that issue. But you do want to see that hopefully most of the keyboard is getting pushed through and is even. Okay, so it looks nice. So now what we're going to do, we're going to get this metal plate. Okay, and like before, this piece was going through here, so we are going to have that go back through. Okay, be careful with all these wires. Okay, make sure these end up back on top. Alright, and then this clip needs to go over. Okay, so watch those wires, make sure everything is going in the right spots. Okay, get all of this lined up, looks good. Okay, oops. And again, this is the 3D printing pen I was talking about, so I'm going to try and heat this up. It stopped itself, so I have to keep making sure to press it to keep it on. Alright, make sure to peel these aluminum pieces to keep them out of the way, because we are going to have to put them back on top. Alright. Oops, this aluminum foil piece went out. Make sure to pull it out. Okay. And one thing we can put back first is the trackpad here. Okay. So the trackpad will kind of help keep this in place, since I don't think there's much of the plastic we needed to melt back there. So trackpad goes in bottom first like this. Okay, and then you lean it down. Alright, it looks like it should be okay. Get these 3 screws. I like to put them in loosely at first. Oh, this thing, why does it keep turning itself off? It's weird. Okay. Alright, once you get all 3 screws in, you can tighten them down. This will kind of help hold that keyboard plate in place a little bit. these all in place. There we go. And let's see, so this keyboard was like this, and then it folded over like that, so. Okay, so this will actually go down that way. Alright. And then this foil we can put on top as well. Make sure that the little holes line up again so that you can put the plastic back in place. Just like that. It's not completely flat. I'm going to use this to kind of help smooth it out a little bit. Okay, it's still heating. Okay, it's about ready, so I'm gonna add the filament in. Okay. So basically what this is just a very high temperature like glue gun, which uses plastic. This is a PLA plastic. Okay. Let's clean off the excess here. Alright, so what you do with this, it's going to be tough because these wires and there's so much stuff in the way. Alright, so what you want to do is basically where all these plastic things that we took out, you want to hold this down and squeeze it in place to make sure it stays. And then you push the thing to get the plastic out. And you also want to melt the existing plastic. So what we're going to do is basically recreate those little things that were on top earlier. So push it back down, make sure it stays flat, just like that. Here you can see it mix the black with the white. So that's one reason that's good to use a different color, so you can see if you're actually getting it to go in properly. And a lot of times you actually don't even need to add more plastic. You can just melt it and then just push it down. And usually that's enough that it will hold it in place. Okay. Alright. But usually you want to add like at least a little bit. Okay. Just like that. Melt it up and push it down. There we go. Oh, it's coming out on its own. And we're just going to do this for all those little holes that we melted and removed. So this is somewhat of a tedious job as well, just like removing it, or just like, yeah, drilling them out. But at least then you'll have a working computer again. So okay, melt that up. This one's in a tight spot, so it's hard to reach. Okay, I don't know if we really need to do this one. This one was kind of just extended over the side a little bit, so let's add a little bit of this and see if we can somehow extend it over again. Just like that. Okay, this one will kind of have a screw holding underneath, so it's not as important, these sides. But it's nice to kind of just get them all in anyways. Alright. And this kind of thing you like to keep pressure on both sides. So I'm actually squeezing both layers together to keep the keyboard pressed in nice and firm against the frame of the laptop. If you don't, then the keyboard will kind of be sunken in, and then it won't feel nice to type on, so you kind of want to do this. Okay. And you don't have to make it super nice and neat. Again, that plastic stuff is going to be on top anyways. So but you do want it to be thin. You don't want it to be too thick of a blob. If the blob is too thick, then the components won't be able to sit down properly, especially where the fan is. So you want to be careful there. If the fan is getting pressed on by these, then the fan's gonna either not be able to spin or be really noisy. Okay, so you want to be careful with this stuff. Most people wouldn't even do this kind of repair. They would just use a USB keyboard. You can disconnect, well actually you can't disconnect the keyboard because the power button's on it. So for this model you kind of have to replace the keyboard, but they would usually replace the whole palm rest assembly, not like how I'm doing is the keyboard itself. And if you get too much, you can actually melt it, and then you can kind of use that to cut it off. Sorry if I'm going out of view. But you get the idea. We're basically just remelting all of these little pieces that we melted or that we drilled out, and then just flattening the top off to keep it back in place. Okay. Here's the cats outside making noises. Okay. And just keep continuing this for all those little dots that we drilled out. So yeah, this is quite a bit of a pain. There's a lot of laptops that actually do this. It's annoying. So I don't do too many of these kinds of repairs because usually it's not worth the cost. But I guess this one's like a kind of expensive gaming machine, so the customer decided it was worth it. Okay. I thought I didn't put enough, but I thought I put too much, but I didn't put enough in this one. Okay. Alright, let's take a look. Alright, so this looks good so far. Gonna keep continuing. I know this is a tedious process. I wouldn't blame you if you just skip ahead, or if you're already doing this, or you just give up. I think most people would see this and be like, oh, I'm not doing that. But I mean, if you want to be able to be like, I repaired my own thing, then you can show people the video and show them how much work it was. Or you can make your own video if you want to. Okay. Plus you can buy like some fun stuff like this 3D printer pen. Or a better one. This is a pretty cheap 3D printer pen. I didn't originally buy this 3D printer pen for this use, but it turned out to work pretty well. So, originally what I was doing with these was I was using some credit card, like cut up credit card shims to hold the keyboard against the frame. And then I would use JB Weld in all these little holes to kind of hold that back together. So that was even worse because that has to sit overnight. This one, it hardens pretty much immediately, as you can see. Like I can even touch the stuff right after, and it doesn't burn my hand, so it's a lot better this way. The only thing is this 3D printer pen, the flow kind of, sometimes it'll keep coming out as the thing keeps getting warm. So it's a little bit tricky sometimes to get the right amount. Sometimes you'll overflow it. But other than that, it makes the job easier. Okay, I don't remember if these had them. See, the plastic is just like coming out on its own, so I have to like get a paper and wipe it off sometimes. Alright, I'm gonna start from this side now. Okay. Alright, this is gonna be a super long video, it looks like. Plastic come out. Too much. Ow, I stabbed myself. Okay. See, some of the plastic keeps continuously coming out even after I stop using it. So that's the problem. It's a little difficult to judge how much you have to push. Alright. There's another one of those weird sideways only ones. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. Oh no, stop! That's not what I meant to do. Okay. And so if you work this fast enough, you can actually even, oops. Okay, you can even grab it by hand and not burn yourself. Okay, melt this one. So we took too much out on this. So you can like remelt it, you can reposition it. It's so much nicer than having to worry about glue. little bit more. Okay. Just have to be careful not to melt all the way through. Sorry, it's going out a few again. It's difficult to work in a comfortable position that you can also see what I'm doing. Okay. This one needs a lot more. Oh, I need to put the foil back before I work on these. Okay. Okay. Let's put the foil back real quick. Lined up. Okay. Go. All right. Again, sorry if it's going out of view. I'm trying to see what I'm doing. let out more of this filament stuff. Okay. Let's see here. Did that have? Nope. There's this tiny one here. This one's kind of weird because it was only on the keyboard itself. So it's below this metal plate. So I can't really push on that with my hand. We'll put this piece of aluminum foil back down. Jeez, I don't even know if my phone's gonna have enough storage to record this whole video. Trying to cut the excess off. Come on, there we go. Add it to this one. I wonder why it's making that weird sound now. Hope I'm not breaking it. Oh, I already did those. Okay. Let's see, what did I miss? Okay, this one. Now it's hard to actually squeeze from both sides because my hand can't reach that far. Let me check here what it looks like on the other side. Okay, it looks pretty good. Not bad. Oops. I have to be careful not to melt my other stuff I'm working on. Okay. This one where the fans are, I have to be a little careful not to put too much. Okay, so I'm just letting whatever's coming out on its own come out, but only a little bit. I might have to add a tiny bit more here. Okay, this one's just into the keyboard itself. Okay, hopefully I was actually supposed to put one there. Some of them I don't remember. I might be adding more melted plastic dots than are needed. Careful, there's plastic pieces here and surrounding. Ow, burning my hand. Okay, let's see, where else? Nothing there, okay. One dot here. Alright, let's look underneath and see what else we got here. Alright, what am I missing? I know I didn't get all of them. Okay, so there's this small one here. Got the ones right on the corners of the trackpad, and then underneath that cable. And 1, 2 here. Okay, we're almost done. Alright, let's get the 2 under the trackpads. No, stop. Okay, oh, no, I don't want to damage the cable. To use this and try and cut off the excess that I added. And let's try and put it on the one above it. There we go. this one back down. Alright, got all of that. What else? This little one here. Alright, and then we got these two here. I think those are it. Okay, last one. The one that I drilled through last time on accident. Okay, is that all of it? Let's take a close look again. If I missed any, it shouldn't, hopefully won't be an issue. Looks like I got them all though. Okay, so we're gonna let out all the rest of this stuff. Roll it back up. Alright, and there we go. We're done with this. We'll set the filament aside. Okay, check the keyboard. Make sure I don't accidentally damage the cables beneath. Okay. It does feel different, but hopefully it will be, hopefully it'll still be good enough. It looks good. Everything looks like it's standing up enough. It's not sunken in. Alright. Put back this foil piece. Alright, so now let's put back the rest. This doesn't really stick to it well, so there we go. Okay, let's put back this plastic. So this keyboard piece goes through there. Make sure everything else ends up on top. Line up all these little screw mount hole things. Okay, again, make sure you get all the wires out from underneath. Don't want anything trapped under there. There we go. Line it all up. And it looks good, so okay. If you want, you can push it all back down. Not that it really needs to be secured down or anything, so it'll secure itself down when we start putting the components on top. So no big deal. Okay, so we got all of that. Next, let's see, should we put the board? Was it the board or the screen first? Let's see here, the screen first actually, because all the cables ran underneath if I remember correctly. Kind of, yes, kind of, no. Alright, I'm gonna clean this off. Oops, let me zoom out. Too far. There we go. Okay, so let's get these pieces back in. We can get the trackpad back in for, or not the trackpad, the screen back in. Hanging off the desk. Alright, just like that. And we'll get the screws here. Alright. Usually these screws I like to add some red thread locker. So I need to shake it up a little bit. Alright, and this helps prevent these screws from coming back out. And I'll usually just put a little bit. So you just put like a small dot and then tighten it in place. Alright, I'm going to take the other one out, add the thread locker to there as well. Sometimes the hinge screws come loose on computers and they can cause some bad damage, so that's why I like to add this thread locker stuff. Oh, this one, the plastic thing was actually broken off, so it fell off at one point. Alright, so I'm going to put the other two here. Okay. Alright. Now we got all those back in. Gonna close the screen slowly and gently. I like to kind of hold and squeeze the hinges with the screen like this. Alright. Go, let's flip this over. I don't remember if all these were underneath. Okay, well, let's route this here. This cable is routed underneath all these little clips here. Okay. Under here. I don't remember where all the clips were here. Here's one up here. Are there other clips up here? Okay, there's one here. And I guess there's another clip here. Does this go underneath, I guess? Okay. And like that. And I guess it goes under there. Okay. Come on, tab. There we go. Alright, so hopefully that's right. Let's get this cable and put that underneath all these as well. I don't remember. Did that go under there? I don't think so. I think that goes there. And then this goes under one of these. Okay. Probably like that. Alright. Zoom in a little. Okay. So, got all of that. Now what did we need? Got the battery screws and then we got the board. Okay. I'm gonna have to remember how all this stuff went. So we got the main board. If I remember, I lifted it up this way, so we have to get the wireless antennas through somehow. I don't know how I'm gonna make sure that they end up on top. That's a little tricky. Okay. Let's see. Okay, the black antenna wire didn't care. It started on top here, I think. And then the white wire had to go under through this piece here. So let's try and thread that through first. Okay, I'm gonna do it over here. Thread the wire through. And then I'll worry about the adhesives underneath. There we go. And then we have to make sure all these other wires and antennas and everything ends up on top. That's the tricky part. Make sure all these wires end up on top of the board. Okay. Line up these little plastic pegs, that's the easiest way. And then get it to drop in place. Good, the wireless antenna is on top. I don't know which was the main and the auxiliary. I didn't label it. I'm gonna guess the white one was here. If I need to move it later, I'll check my video and I'll fix it later, but for now I'm gonna put it this way because that's what I think, that's how I think it was. Alright, if my memory serves correctly, which it might not. Okay, let's plug in all these cables here. Make sure to flip the little latches back up. Get the cable in, put the latch back down. Alright, hopefully peeling this off didn't damage it like I was saying earlier. Okay, get that in. Get this cable in. It's probably like 3 AM right now that I'm working on this. Alright, put in the BIOS Cmos battery. Okay, get this connector in as well. Line up the LCD or Lvds connector. And then push it down. Normally it would have a satisfying click. This didn't have a click. It clicks when I take it out, but not when I push it in. That's kind of... There we go. Alright. And then be careful because there are those screws. Actually, was that the one that was broken one? I think that was the broken one. Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to put the tape over the top there. There's actually some broken plastic stuck to the tape. There we go. Alright, so let's see what else. Got all of that. Alright, so now let's put back this, the hard drive connector. So we'll put this latch up. Get that in, even though it's not being used. Alright, you can stick it back down. Alright, how was this cable? Let's thread it over through these things. Hopefully this is looped the right way. Speaker connector back in, pinch the two pieces together just like that. Okay, let's start putting back some of these screws. So if I remember correctly, we had one screw for this here. Also, if you're wondering, I'm keeping myself grounded by keeping my knee against my metal table. So alright, so we had this one screw up here first. Okay, then we had one screw here. Again, you want to check yours because mine, somebody probably opened it already and took stuff out. There's one screw here. I'm not sure if internally if they did, but alright, got the other screw for the fan here. Actually, maybe they didn't take the screws out. Alright, and then we had one screw up in this corner here. Okay. We're going to take this connector. I'm going to actually connect this to the keyboard first. So the way it goes is like this. Okay. And then while you're doing that, push these latches in. Just like that. Make sure it goes all the way. Pinch the two pieces together. And they should be pretty much flush. Okay. Just like that. Then we're going to take this piece, make sure these latches are out, slide that in place, just like that, and same thing, push these latches, or pinch the latches together, just like that, okay? And then you want to actually crease this down, so that way when the battery goes on top, it's not going to push on the back of the trackpad and make it hard to click, Okay, you don't want to crease too hard, but just crease it so it will stay. Alright, so we got all the screws in. The last bit is the battery. You want to put the battery at the angle like this, and then it slots in down here. Drop the battery down. It clips in with these little clicky things there. Okay. And oops, I put it upside down. My bad. Okay, make sure you put the battery the right side up. Like this. Again, the feet down first, and then click that in place. I'm going to put the battery connector last. Let's put the screws first just to be safe. Alright. And make sure everything is reconnected before you plug the battery in. You don't want to plug the battery in and then start messing with everything else. Okay, this USB board, almost forgot that one. Let's plug that in. There we go. Okay, so looks like we got everything else in. Let's put that tape on. Get the battery connector. Make sure that the battery connector goes straight in, not at a crooked angle, or you can damage the thing. And then snap that in. Black left, red on the right, so make sure you put it the same way. Make sure you have it facing you the same way too, that the battery's this way when you decide which is left and right. Okay, I'm going to clean off this a little bit. Just because it's dusty. Get them off to a clean start. Alright, so get this cover, we'll put it back on. Again, they took all the screws out already. I don't know where they are, so they probably have them with them. But snap all the clips back in place, just like this. Okay, just like that. Clip this cover back in. And clip this cover back in as well. Alright, so let's see if it turns on without plugging it back in. Otherwise, I need to go get the charger. Open this up slowly. And I don't think it's turning on. Oh, it is turning on. Okay, so the blue light is coming on. Let's see if it'll actually boot up after all that resetting the BIOS and everything. The blue light came on, it turned off, it's on again. So it might be resetting the BIOS. I hope that's all it's doing and not something dead. Come on, boot up. So here you can see the blue light on there is on. Come on, start up. Sometimes if it doesn't start up, it could be a RAM issue, so hopefully it's not something else got damaged. Come on. Are you gonna turn on or what? Let me plug it in. Maybe the battery's low. I hear the fan starting up and then it restarts. So, yep, the fan. Oh, I just saw it flash for a bit. What's going on? Come on. Oh, there we go. So it was resetting the BIOS, and it should be starting up now. Come on. There we go. So it looks like it's good to go. Before it wouldn't turn on at all because the keyboard was toast. I am going to test the keyboard keys, but that's pretty much all there is to this. The arrow key worked. It wants me to sign in, so I can't do that right now. Let me try booting from my USB, and then I'm going to run some tests. So I'm going to boot from my Windows USB, and then I'll see if I can show you. So I held the shift key and it's saying please wait, which is a good sign. I don't want to show their username and everything, but you can see the screen is on. Okay. Oh man, that was a long repair. I mean, the video's 2 hours, but I did a lot of stuff off camera that, like, when I paused it, so yeah, but that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna just test the keyboard again. Hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, like, subscribe, help others find my videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.